Okay, so I am a big fan of Seinfeld as I used to watch it every day after school with my dad. I had a poster that was signed by the actors who played the four main characters, Jerry, Kramer, Costanza, and Elaine. This poster has always been really important to me because watching Seinfeld with my dad is one of the few times I got to spend time with him. He had a lot of personal issues, and he personally went and got it signed to give me for my 21st birthday. So yeah, it's not just a dumb poster to me, it has a lot of sentimental value. Now my wife and I have been trying to raise money to start a college fund for our kids. As you do, we've been selling stuff we don't need anymore, and I guess you can see where this is going. I hadn't been in my study a few weeks as I've been on an extended business trip, and when I come home to my study my poster is gone. I asked my wife where it is, and she said she sold it on eBay. Here's where it gets iffy. She claimed she assumed it would be okay to sell, since it's just a poster, despite it being so sentimental to me. The reason I am suspect is because she was very unhappy with me going on this business trip. She tried to forbid me going because she couldn't come with me to make sure I behave myself. However, I couldn't say no, I literally had to go, or I'd severely hurt my reputation at work. So when I leave we're fighting, when I come back my most prized possession is gone in a mistake. See where I'm coming from? I told my wife I was going to stay in a motel for 1-2 weeks, and that if she wants to save this marriage my poster better be back in my study when I get back. She's supposedly been an emotional wreck ever since, according to her sister. Am I the idiot? My friends think I am having a hissy fit and need to grow up. Not the idiot. The story suggests to me this was a malicious sale designed to provoke or hurt you. If it was with honest intent a conversation would have been needed to understand what you agree would be a sensible minimum sale amount, given the sentimental value. This could have taken place via phone, even if you were away. Coupled with the controlling behavior that impacts your ability to do your job, which I expect is more helpful to the fund overall, she sounds like she has some serious trust issues. You can't sell the other person's crap without their permission. Is this even up for debate? And even if it was a mistake, you can't sell other people's crap without their permission. Everything you're doing right, from moving into the motel to issuing the ultimatum. Don't budge 1 inch, man. Stay strong. You're only not the idiot if you're 100% serious about wanting to divorce her. I suspect you are, which is why I support you wholeheartedly. But of course, if you're just doing this to manipulate her, that would be bad. She sold something personally, genuinely important to you out of spite after you refuse to bow to her ridiculous demands, and then tries to deny it. If she can't see the error of her ways and get it herself, get rid of her and see if you can hunt the poster down on your own. Don't weaken because of what her friends are saying, because otherwise she'll think she can treat you like this. SOs should not be as vindictive and manipulative as she is acting, and she needs to realize that she overstepped a line. I live in a country where extended families living under one roof is common. My daughter, 3, and I, 23, are currently living with my grandmother, an uncle, and aunt, with husband and 2 kids. The reason why I haven't moved out yet is because of my grandmother. I have a high-paying stable job and can move out anytime, but my uncle, the eldest who's paying for the bills as well, pleaded for me to stay with my grandmother. She's 89 and I take care of her as well. Yesterday, I got into a fight with my aunt because I confronted her about them not buying fruits for their mother. I can do it myself, but because I have a sickly daughter, I won't risk going out. My grandmother receives a monthly stipend from the government and my aunt manages the finances. I don't touch even a single cent of that stipend. I buy my own groceries, but also includes my grandmother. I pay for the electricity of the entire household and sometimes the water bill. I also give weekly allowances to my aunt's 2 teenage kids. My uncle, my aunt and her husband ganged up on me and said a lot of hurtful things about me in front of my daughter. They kept on rubbing it in my face that I got pregnant at 19 and a single mom at that. I got so fed up that I told them, at least I didn't ask other people to pay for my family's needs. I added after that, I can move out here anytime and won't worry about where to get food and where to get money to pay the bills. I don't know if I can say the same thing about you all. I never asked them for help financially and worked hard to where I am now. My statement resulted in another round of shouting and them constantly telling me how rude I was. I grabbed my daughter away from them and locked ourselves in my room. Since I'm paying for the internet bill, out of anger, I changed the password and they haven't connected since then. I feel like I was too harsh when I said those words to them. Am I the idiot? So, you got pregnant early, but not earth-shatteringly so, and did well for yourself and your daughter. You're taking care of your grandmother and paying for lots of stuff for the entire extended family. Considering all of that, you may have been slightly harsh, but very understandably so. You might want to tell them in no uncertain terms that you won't take their bullcrap anymore. Not the idiot, of course. If you are the primary provider for your grandmother, then you should have access to the stipend. If your aunt is using it for herself, she is most likely committing fraud. Regardless, if you move out, then the stipend should cover her costs anyways. It seems like your aunt and uncle are using you as a bank and nanny. If you're scared for your grandmother's care, maybe look into moving out with her or possibly evicting your aunt and uncle, not sure if they're on the paperwork of anything. You work hard and take care of a multitude of people in that house when they don't do anything but for anyone except themselves. Whenever you can, you should move out and bring your grandma with you. Who cares if they think it's for the money that the government sends you, because obviously they're not using it to help her and therefore shouldn't be responsible for your granny's finances. I'd say it's the best possible thing to do for yourself, your daughter and your grandma. My husband has a cabin he inherited in West Virginia with hundreds of acres of beautiful, and some not beautiful, land. He and his family would usually go there during the summer. My husband and I are both blessed with large amounts of vacation time, so we also usually go during the summer. He's a big outdoors type, loves being outside in any capacity, loves fishing, etc. He's also really generous, especially when it comes to the outdoors. He loves helping his friends with their gardens, and he even taught one of his friend's son to fish. So one of my close friends asked me if she could use the cabin for a little getaway for her and her husband during the lockdown. They're both furloughed and bored at home with nothing to do. My husband and I are both still working, so I figured it wouldn't be a big deal and he might say yes. I asked him and made sure that there wasn't any pressure on him to say yes. I wouldn't want him to feel like he was loaning out his family's cabin because I told him to, but he said that it would be fine. Well, apparently my friend isn't a big fan of my husband's, despite him letting her use the cabin. Because today I got a call from another friend who told me that my friend was trash talking my husband behind our backs. She said that he's annoying and that he didn't deserve his job. She applied for a job that my husband ended up getting, mere coincidence, but apparently she's still bitter about it and that all he's good for is his cabin. My friend that told me said she felt like she was obligated to, since we were letting her use the cabin, but that she said this stuff before. Now it was pretty surprising to me that she said all of these things because she's never seemed to be that kind of person and I've known her for a long time. So I called her and asked her about it and she owned up to it and then started saying how I wasn't ever supposed to hear. Well, then I got pretty pissed off and told her that she couldn't use the cabin and that if she had anything to say about my husband she could say it to his face. She then got mad at me and said it's not fair to punish her for something that she thought she was saying in confidentiality. I don't know why she thought she would be saying it in confidentiality. My other friend called me and said that she wasn't supposed to tell me what my friend said and that she's just bitter about not getting the job and didn't really mean it and that I shouldn't punish her for it. My friend a little later then called me and apologized for what she said, but it still feels wrong letting her use something of my husband's after she said those things. Also, being bitter about a job she didn't get 2 years ago isn't a reason to go trash talking people behind their backs. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your friends are weird if they think because she insulted your husband behind your backs, it's okay. It's not like she was in a frustrating situation and venting to your mutual friend, she was just insulting your husband. And you are not punishing her, you aren't her parents, this is just the natural consequence of being an idiot. It always amazes me the amount of people that haven't worked out that if you act like an idiot, don't be massively surprised when someone treats you like one. I'd rethink the relationship with the friend that told you as well, considering she admitted the first friend has said stuff before and never told you. Why didn't this stuff bother her before now? Why only tell you now? Sounds like she's jealous of you letting one friend use the cabin, or something else happened between her and trash-talking friend to make her finally say something about it. She felt like she was obligated to since we were letting her use the cabin, but she said stuff like this before is what I noticed. That just seems weird. She never told you any of this before. Something to think about, OP. Probably the simplest case of deciding not the idiot. You can't punish me because you weren't supposed to hear about it. What the hell is that? It's not a diary you stole and read. She said it out loud to someone. And whether you were supposed to or not, it's how she feels. She's got no right to the cabin anyway, and especially not if she doesn't actually like the person it belongs to. She should learn a little self-respect and not take things from people she feels that way about just because it's convenient. My son is 10. 1 year ago he asked for a pet guinea pig. We have a large garden, so I agreed, but only with some terms. I would cover the upkeep of food, bedding and pig treats and toys. He would have to save up half the money for a large hutch, and I would pay for a large outdoor run. He agreed and did his chores, and for his birthday I paid for 2 guinea pigs from a local seller. My son named the guinea pigs Pudding and Candy. Within days of buying them, my son lost interest. He refused to feed them, refused to clean them, and refused to move their run around the garden, so they were on fresh grass. I warned him multiple times that I would take possession of the pigs as my own. I discussed with my husband before we got them that I would quite enjoy having them in the garden, as I had guinea pigs growing up and always adored them. So after a few months of doing 100% of the work myself, I renamed the guinea pigs Gerald and Roach. When my son was in the garden playing, he heard me calling them to get them in the pen. I moved them from the outdoor run and pen to the indoor shed pen at night. He threw an absolutely huge tantrum and demanded I change the names back. I said if he began looking after them like he was supposed to, that he could change the names back. He continued to sulk and moan, but eventually agreed to these terms. It's been a week since that tantrum and he hasn't been near them since. He sulks every day about the names but refuses to help. My husband has told me to just change the names back and let it go, but I prefer those names, and seeing as I'm doing all the work and I see them as my pets now, not my sons, why shouldn't I? I will gladly rethink the situation if I am wrong or missing the point, but I just don't think my husband's point is very fair. My son needs more discipline already, as he seems to be so demanding and sulky lately. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. At various points I was going to leave an opposite judgment. The title definitely sounds idiotish, and, personally, I'm heavily against buying children pets because, as shown here, they lose interest, and it's not fair on the animals. But what you've done here is great. You anticipated your son losing interest and were completely on board with taking the animals as your own because they're pets you also wanted yourself. And you've taught him a valuable lesson about responsibility. If he's not going to look after them, he can't have them. They're your pigs now. I was going to call you the idiot until I read about those 10-year-old tantrums and refusal to take care of them. Not the idiot. Those pigs are lucky you're there to care for them. Young kids rarely stay interested in taking care of anything, and parents sometimes get just as stubborn about taking on the responsibility, so a lot of pets suffer because of that. You take care of them, you can call them whatever you want. Let him sulk and learn a lesson or 3. He can exaggerate the story to his therapist when he's 20. I was thinking, if you're naming them then, why do they belong to the child? But you pretty much explained a very rational story. Since the child doesn't want to take care of them at all, then it's very reasonable. Personally, I try to put emphasis on the kid and family being lucky that you're still willing to keep them. A lot of kids that decide not to keep their pets end up going to a shelter or given away, or more horribly just released somewhere. Wife, 40, and I, 42, together for 23 years, married for 17. We have 4 daughters together, 16, 15, 13, 11. Our relationship is good, we don't fight and we don't have any major issues. When we had our oldest, we decided that she would stay at home with her and our future kids. It worked well until last year. As our daughters got older, they didn't need that much attention from her. It caused some problems. She was used to being a full-time mom, but our daughters are quite independent for their ages, so she got a lot of free time in her hands and didn't know what to do. We discussed things, and I told her that this would be a good time to her finish her master's degree, but she wasn't very keen on that, so she joined the gym and a few book clubs. Then our oldest introduced her to TikTok, and she got addicted to that. She started posting stuff about our private life, but hey, she wasn't bored, and she was happy, so I went along. I even participated in a few. Then she started doing pranks on me. It was particularly funny, because I get scared very easily. The prank started to get more elaborate. I told her to stop, and we had a lot of heated arguments about this. In March, I was taking a bath. She got into the bathroom and dumped a bucket of ice on me. While recording the whole thing, I freaked out, got up very fast, slipped, and hit my head pretty hard on the tub. I am a big guy, 6'4 feet, 248 pounds, so it was pretty bad. I woke up in the hospital 2 days later. Apparently, I got a hematoma from the accident and had to get brain surgery. I had to stay in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. I'm still doing physiotherapy sessions and don't have total control of my left arm. After the accident, the previously good relationship that my wife had with my family, my mom has 3 sons, I am the oldest, and we started dating very early, so my wife was the daughter that my mom never had, took a pretty big hit. They got into a few fights with her, and I had to step in and ask everyone to calm down a bit. On to the issue, my wife and I alternate holidays between her family and mine. 1 year we go to Christmas with her family, the next one we stay with my parents. This year we are supposed to stay with my parents, but she doesn't want that. My family still makes some snarky comments, and my brothers are pretty passive-aggressive with her. She doesn't want to go to my parents this year because of that. I told her that I am going with or without her. She told me that I can't take our daughters without her. We got into a fight and I told her that I am going. She told me that she won't drive me there. I can't drive since the accident. I called my brother and he is okay with driving us there. Our daughters are very excited to see my parents. We got into a fight and she is currently not speaking with me. Her sisters think I am a jerk and that I am being too harsh on her because the lockdown was hard on her. I told a coworker about this and he is on the fence. So, am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. Your wife is obnoxious. Did she ever even apologize to you or your family for her ridiculous behavior? That said, if you are choosing to forgive her, then your family needs to respect that. I don't blame your wife for not wanting to be around people who are going to constantly berate her, even though she most likely deserves it. Actions have consequences, and your wife apparently doesn't want to own up to hers. She caused your serious injury by trying to play a prank, which was unwelcome for internet points, which understandably upsets your mom and other family members. She deserves to feel shame and remorse for what she did. However, now your wife wants to be petty and manipulative because she doesn't want to admit she screwed up. She's unfairly taking it out on you, your daughters, and your family because it would make her feel more comfortable personally. That's an idiot move. Not the idiot. Your wife is lucky you didn't have her arrested for assault and battery, or at the very least divorced over that stupid stunt. She should be bending over backwards to make things right. This wasn't an accident, it was thoughtless at best. How are you still with her? You told her to stop the pranks and she didn't and you almost died. She chose to publicly humiliate you because she's bored as a stay-at-home mom. If snarky comments and passive-aggressive behaviors are all she has to deal with, she should count herself lucky.